istighfar, make dhikr, remember Allah, till the time of tahajjud, till just before the time of fajr, last third of the night in other words. And he would wake up in the last third of the night and he worship Allah Azza wa Jal again. And then when he got stabbed by Abu al-Majusi, they thought they were going to get rid of him and all this type of thing. He was rolling around and his son came to put a pillow, Abdullah, he came to put a pillow under the head of Sayyidina Umar, and we said, to take away the pillow. He said, Wayhaka ya Umar, like, watch out Umar. Like if Allah doesn't forgive you, what's going to happen to you? And he was one of the people that were promised Jannah by the Prophet of Allah, as-Sadiq al-Masduq, al-Amin, as-Sadiq al-Amin as well. الَّذِي لَا يَنْتُقُ عَنِ الْهَوَى إِنَّهُ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَى. The Prophet of Allah doesn't speak from his own accord. He told Umar that you're going to be one of the people of Jannah, and still that was his condition. So if that humility doesn't envelop us and doesn't overcome us, especially when we're calling to Allah Azza wa Jal, then we better be very careful of what we do. And that doesn't mean we stop doing it, by the way. That means that as we're doing it, while we're doing it, and after we do it, that we're taking stock, we're taking account of our own egos and our own nufus, our own hearts, in terms of what is it that we're trying to do, what is it that we want, what are we trying to achieve by what we're doing, and what are we trying to achieve by calling to Allah. Hello? Are you serious?
Jannah, happiness.
Okay? Proximity. If you don't remember that when you're calling to Allah, it'll happen. When Allah Azza wa Jal, it'll happen. At times, the brothers that go and they're calling to Allah, da'wah, this, that, and then they don't read any Qur'an. They don't make any dhikr, no istighfar. They've got nothing in their lives except da'wah. Where are you going, mate? Where are you going? Where's your internal ibadah? Where's your worship? Where's your private worship between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What are you celebrating? The fact that you can talk and you like the sound of your own voice? Is that what you're celebrating? The fact that you're knowledgeable, you know something? And the ulama talk about it. They say that the person who becomes self-deluded because they've got money, or they're attractive, or they're from a good family, or whatever, they dress well or whatever, that's one type of delusion. And that's bad. But the person who's deluded because they're close to Allah, or they've got knowledge, or they dress shari, or they do more deeds and worship than other people, and they have ujub, that's worse than the person who has ujub, or the self-deluded because of the affairs of the world. Right? They're both bad. But one is, it's fanny, it's going to go. The person's going to either lose their wealth, lose their intelligence, something's going to go backwards. That's the sunnah. Their looks are going to disappear, whatever. Now it's alright, just go get surgery, it's alright. Fix it up. But point being is that wanes, but changes. Sometimes you have a bad hair day, as the case might be. The thing is, the person whose ujub, his self-delusion, comes in when Allah Azza wa Jal in the form of worship, that's a deeper type of self-delusion. Because the person is when I was thinking that they did it, when I was and getting further and getting it's a block from Allah Azza wa Jal. So we've got to remember the proximity, that nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the point why we open our mouth. That is the point why we remind people of Allah. That is the point why we encourage and enjoin good and dissuade evil. That's the point why we do it. And if we don't recall that point, we don't keep that point in mind, then when Allah Azza wa Jal, we're not going to get anything. We're going to go backwards with Allah. Any questions about any of that? There shouldn't be. We've done it like 5 weeks in a row, Mac. 6 weeks. Really?
Probably longer.
Really. That's the time to take the benefit now.
9 classes.
9, mashallah. It's one word, proximity, that's it. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, hamdan yuwafi ni'amahu wa yukafi mazidah wa salatu wa salam ala khayr al-anam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. إننا وإن نتعلم والتعليم والتذكر والتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والدعاء إلى الهدى والدلالة على الخير والحث والتمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسول الله ابتغاء مرضات الله وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى. Praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, praise it's worthy of a beneficent bestower of bounties and favours, and we ask our Lord Most High to send copious and eternal blessings and salutations upon our beloved Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we pray our respects to the traditional owners of the land and their elders past and present. So Imam al-Haddad in the book Risala al-Mu'awana, the book of assistance, says in chapter 23 on page 86 of the English version, I think it's Badawi, isn't it? Mustafa al-Badawi, Jazakallah khair, he's the one who's translated, mashallah, I didn't put his name on the thing. His name's not anywhere, mashallah. Mustafa Badi, he's the one who's translated the book, if you're interested in having a look at the cover. He says, Imam al-Haddad radiyallahu anhu وعنكم نفعنا به وبكم وعليك بالعدل برعيتك الخاصة والعامة وكمال الحفظ والتفقد لها فإن الله تعالى سألك عنها وكل راع مسؤول عن رعيته. So he says, deal justly. This is on social duties, chapter 23, page 86. Deal justly with those in your charge, whether public or personal. Be altogether protecting and solicitous for them. For God will call you to account in their regard, and every shepherd will be asked to account for his or her, as the case may be, flock. So this chapter, as I said, it starts off, it's on social duties, but Imam al-Haddad radiyallahu anhu ardahu, he talks about firstly one's responsibility. Alayka, so be careful. He says deal justly in English with those who are under your charge, responsibility, authority, as the case might be. So the ra'iyya, the essence of the word ra'iyya, it means responsibility in the English language. The essence of the word refers to a shepherd with the flock, with the sheep there, or the goats, or whatever else it might be, in terms of animals that are herding animals that are herded, and the shepherd looks after them. He's responsible, or she, as the case might be, responsible for their affairs. In other words, responsible to keep them safe, responsible to keep them fed, responsible to keep them watered, responsible. And that was the thing about like the prophets previously. So they would roam vast areas. Like it's said about Sayyidina Ibrahim, he would go from Jerusalem all the way to Misr and all the way to Jazir al-Arabiya, to Arabia, taking his flock depending on the season. And if you've been to Lebanon, you'll know it's a very green country. There's no desert in Lebanon. And the same thing for Palestine. Palestine is portrayed, Palestine, it's portrayed in the movies as barren and desert, but it's not. It's green and fertile, one of the most fertile. الَّذِي بَارَكْنَا حَوْلَهَا. Allah said, around the Masjid al-Aqsa, in other words, Palestine, basically, and Sham is a mubarak place, it's a blessed place. So particularly there, it's portrayed, and it's one of those tricks of cinematography, it's portrayed as a desert, so people say, it's not worth anything, why would you want to fight over it? But of course it's not, it's green, it's lush, it's Shajra al-Mubaraka, Zaytun is there, the blessed tree, olives, even some say originate from there, figs, Allahumma salli wa sallam ala Sayyid Muhammad, Rumman, pomegranates, and these types of fruits, they're abundant there. So Allah Azza wa Jal, and that's from the essence of the hadith, it says, Kullukum ra'i wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyati. So each one of us is responsible, and we're responsible for those whom Allah Azza wa Jal has made us responsible for. And it'll come to that a little bit later, so I won't go into that. But Imam al-Haddad, he has a different approach to what we'd imagine the things that we're responsible over are. So he says, he continues, وَأَعْنِي بِرَعْيَتِكَ الْخَاصَّةِ جَوَارِحُ. So he talks about two, afwan. Al-Amma, he says, فِي رَعْيَتِكَ الْخَاصَّةِ وَالْعَامَّةِ. So he talks about two, public and personal. Now, khassa refers to, it's personal, right? One that belongs to you. And amma means more general rather than public. So the thing that is khas, specific to you, and the Imam al-Haddad goes into it, he says, I mean by my personal charges. In other words, he says, Ani برعيتك الخاصة جوارحك السبع هي اللسان والسمع والبصر والبطن والفرج واليد والرجل فإن هذه الجوارح رعاية استرعاك الله إياها وأمانة ائتمنك عليها فعليك بكفها عن معصيته واستعمالها في طاعته فإن الله تعالى إنما خلقها لك لتطيعه بها وهي من أجل نعم الله عليك وشكرها أن تطيعه سبحانه وتعالى بها وأن لا تعصيه بشيء منها فإن so like it's all tied together, so I don't want to overdo it and go through the Arabic without going. So he says, by your personal charge, in other words, the things that you're personally responsible for, the things that you are personally responsible for, I mean your 7 organs, appendages as they might be, which are your tongue. And we know the hadith, we've been through it. He grabbed his tongue, alayhi salatu wasalam, and he said, beware, this thing is deadly. Your eye, your ears, what you listen to, whether it's ghiba, and we've been through that as well, which is what? Huh?
Backbiting.
Backbiting, which means what? Not you, someone else.
Talking about the people behind their back.
Okay, things, what kind of things are you talking about, people behind their back? Right, things they wouldn't like you to say. She's short, he's whatever, hairy, whatever the case might be. Ghiba. And what about namima?
Making,
Have a break for a while, it's alright. Have a drink or have a donut or something. Now?
Causing problems between.
Right? Basically that's what it is. Namima, so ghiba, it can be true. So-and-so's got big feet. It's true. Okay? But namima is they say libel, defamation. But it's more than that. In other words, to say something untrue about someone with the intention of making a fitna, with the intention of causing discord, in other words, enmity, problems between people, for use of a different word. Okay? That's the ears. Music, swearing, stomach, can't put what into it? Haram. And overeating is haram. Can't overeat. Genitals, got to use them in the right way. We always talk about it. Masturbation, it's haram, self-gratification in whatever ways. Illicit sexual relations, even if it's not intercourse, but whatever. All the things that may go along with person of the same or opposite sex. Hands, got to use it the right way. Stealing, can't be doing that. You've got to use it the right way, whatever it might be. And feet, taking you to haram or taking you to halal, as the case might be. These are your charges. In other words, charges is an old English word, which means the things you're responsible for. You're charged with, you're duty bound by, in other words, which God has given you, and a trust with which He entrusted you. So it's 2 things. It's good for you. You can use it to do things in life. Inshallah, worship Allah first, then take care of your worldly affairs. But secondly, it's a trust. And when someone entrusts you with something, which you should restrict. So when someone entrusts you with something, they say to you, look, here's my car. Take it and go to Paddy's Market, so it's not called that anymore, whatever, Sydney Markets, and get me a box of apples and a box of oranges. So you go, you're entrusted with the car. Shouldn't be driving over the speed limit. Shouldn't be driving recklessly. Shouldn't be going over speed humps too fast. Shouldn't be going too hard on the brakes. Accelerating unnecessarily. Whatever, the normal, regular driving like you drive in front of the driving instructor when you're going for your P's. That's the type of driving you should be doing. Safe driving. Right? It's a trust. The person has given you their car to use it in a specific manner. If you said to them, look, I'm a rally driver and I have to drive like a rally driver. I'll still go get your oranges and apples. And they said, yes, it's okay. As long as you don't break the road rules. It's a different story. If you said I'm one of those stunt drivers, I drive on 2 wheels on the side and whatever, and I'll drive your car like that, and they said, oh, no worries, okay, I agree. Just don't spill the oranges and apples on the way back, going sideways on 2 wheels or whatever, then it's all right. But if that wasn't the agreement, then you're expected to drive in accordance whatever is the normal standard at that time. It's a trust. Okay, so Allah Azza wa Jalla has entrusted us with these 7 things, these 7 appendages, as He calls them, organs, as they might be called, whatever. Okay? Arms not really an organ, I suppose. Limbs, eyes not really limbs. Yeah. Whatever, these 7 things, neither ears, whatever you want to call them.
Body parts.
Parts, body parts, okay? Allah has given them to you as a trust. That means they have to be used in a particular way. True or not true, like the car? Yeah or no yeah? Alright? And which you should restrain from sin. That's the first thing. and use in his obedience subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they're the conditions. Which is what? What does that really talk about? Our favourite word that we always say in this class. Okay? Jazakallahu khairan. Taqwa. You have to have fear Allah, in other words. What do they say? No. Ittaqillah. Be cautious of your responsibilities to Allah with those 7 body parts. For God the Exalted created them only that by means of them you might obey Him. As we said, they are among the greatest of His favours for which we should thank Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alright? Shukr. The shukr of Allah is what? The true shukr of Allah is obedience to Allah with those 7 body parts. So that's how we thank Allah for giving us, alhamdulillah, we're all kamal al-a'da, we're all complete in our appendages, in our body parts, alhamdulillah. So we need to thank Allah. How do we do that? By using those body parts in a way that makes Allah pleased. Shukr. Of course, the shukr al-lisan is to say alhamdulillah, to recognize the minnah, the favors and the bounties of Allah upon a person. But to embody it and exemplify it, one must do action. And if you do not do this, you will be turning God's favor into ingratitude. Which is what? Ingratitude? Kufr. Not kufr, imani kufr. Kufr, in other words, like these takfiri guys, they've got a new thing for it. TK now they call it. I don't know if you know about that one. TK, takfir. That's it. Someone, oh, that bloke's TK. What do you mean he's TK? Oh, he's out of the din. I'm not joking. That's the people. There's people. I freaked out, you know, like these unbelievable, these TK. I thought it was a good thing, TK. Normally when you give nicknames like that, nah, takfir, khalas, they kaffaru, we kaffaru. And who's he talking about? One of them, Shaykh. Allahu Akbar, mashallah. He can't even read Arabic and he's given that guy's kafir now. Okay, so that's one kufr. But we're not talking about that kind of kufr. What's the meaning of the word kafara? In essence, is to cover, deny. Which one of the bounties of Allah will you deny? Tukfur. Which one of the takfur? As the first guy? No. The kufr is not. Which one of the bounties of Allah will you? I forget. Anyway, to cover up the truth. In other words, deny the truth. And so, what the Imam is saying, and what the Imam have said, and the ulama have said, for generations upon generations, is to use one's body in the disobedience of Allah is in fact deny Allah's existence. That's what they're saying. So that's why there's some groups, Khawarij and these guys, they came out and said, oh, if you do ma'siyah, if you disobey Allah, it's kufr and you're out of the deen. And some groups say it now, if you do haram, you have to say la ilaha ashhadu an la ilaha illallah rasulullah again. Yeah. That's not right. That's not right. There's, you know, the kufr, there are some acts that take you out of Islam, but not just to be disobedient to Allah Azza wa Jal. So because kufr in terms of iman and not iman, belief and disbelief in Allah Azza wa Jal is an i'tiqad. It's a conviction. Here and here. In one's mind, which is maybe the combination of heart and brain. So an action can't really take one out in that way. There are some actions, but not to disobey Allah in that regard. So what the Imam is saying, sorry, I know I'm going a bit deep there. He says that if we do not use our appendages to obey Allah Azza wa Jal, then basically we're saying no thank you to Allah. We're being ungrateful to Allah, and in that sense, we're denying Allah. That's what the kufr is. But it's not kufr of going out of the fold of the deen. No TK here. Technical knockout. That's how it is in boxing. Alright? So there's none of that going on. It's just that a person, basically we might say, going back to taqwa, the meaning of taqwa is istish'ar, to have consciousness of Allah at the time of doing things. So we can say the consciousness disappears. Okay, that person's consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of wujudullah, of the existence of Allah, disappears. Why? Because they're obeying Allah. Disobeying, excuse me. So when someone is disobeying Allah, it's as if they're saying Allah doesn't exist. Now, I'll give you an example. Like in school, back in the day, or still now, when you were young, the teacher would go out of class for like 30 seconds, the class would erupt. No teacher, there's no authority, so to speak. Everyone's going off and yelling, and then as soon as you hear the door knob turn, or handle turn, that's it, everyone starts to calm down again. So it's that sort of an example, that were a person to disobey Allah Azza wa Jalla, especially purposefully and knowingly, not forgetfully, then basically what they're saying is, I don't recognize your authority. So therefore I'm rejecting your existence, in a way. That's why I said that are you with me or am I losing you? Yeah? Alright, so it's not, no kufr here, in the sense of leaving the deen. It's the sense that a person's being ungrateful or ingrateful to Allah Azza wa Jalla, showing ingratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Had God the Exalted not made these organs, فإن تركت ذلك ولم تفعله فقد بذلت نعمة الله كفرا. بدلت نعمة الله كفرا. Exactly what we're saying. So it's these things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. This is what he says in English. If you do not do this, you will be turning God's favor into ingratitude. So one of the greatest favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us is our physiques, is our bodies, because it's the vessel in which carries our soul. It's the vessel which enables us, bi-idhnillah azza wa jal, to further illuminate our soul, or when Allah detriment the soul. We don't worry about the detriment part. It further allows us to illuminate, bi-idhnillah azza wa jal, and enlighten our souls. So when we return to Allah, they say, when He said to us, Alastu bi rabbikum, am I not your Lord? We said, indeed you are Allah. Indeed. And hopefully we can return to Allah, and Shaykh al-Imam will talk about it later on. But that's the essence of what he's saying. ولولا أن الله تعالى سخر لك هذه الجوارح وجبلها على طاعتك لكنت لا تستطيع أن تعصي الله بشيء منها وكل جارحة منها تقول لك بلسان حالها إذا أردت أن تعمل بها معصية يا عبد الله اتق الله ولا تكرهني على فعل ما حرم الله علي فإذا عصيت الله بها ترجع إلى الله وتقول قد نهيته يا ربي فلم يسمع وأنا بريئة مما صنع. Okay, so then he says, what happens is that the organs, they talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they talk to the soul, talk to your inner being, your essence. Each one of your appendages talks on a daily basis. And we did this hadith months and months ago. Went through what they say to the tongue, ittaqillaha fina. Because you're going to get us in trouble. All the body parts say to the tongue, you're going to get us in big trouble. If you don't lift your game, talk properly, do what you're supposed to do, then we're all going to go to the hellfire. We're all going to suffer because of you. So, and that's what the servant that they say, when you intend to use any of them sinfully, it says in its own way, O servant of God, fear God, do not force me to commit that which God has forbidden me. If you then commit a sin, it turns to God and says, I forbade him, O Lord, but he did not or she did not listen. I am innocent of what he or she did. You will one day stand before God, and these organs will testify to every good or evil in which you used them. Okay? So, that's what they're saying. Where are you going? What are you trying to do? We're a bounty, a favor given to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in which to worship Him, وَتَتَرَقَّى, and your status to be elevated. Proximity, mahak. Want to get close. The taraqqi, the elevation of status. That's what Allah has given us our bodies for. So here you go. There's your body. Use it in the best way possible. Don't use it like, that 70%, they say, 70% of the websites on the internet are about pornography. Is that using it in the right way? Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Putting haram in the body. Khinzir, swine. Meat that's not halal. Animals that shouldn't be eaten, like bears and people eat those. The tiger. And people eat these sorts of things, right? All those things that shouldn't be. Wine at the head of them. Marijuana, and now all the different drugs, ice and whatever else, all those different things that are out there. Even cigarettes. Cigarettes, they call it a cancer stick. Who would want to consume something called a cancer stick? Doesn't make any sense. So all those things, one has to protect oneself, because, O servant of God, our bodies get told by our appendages. And he says, وَسَوْفَ تَقِفْ بَيْنَ يَدِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى فَتُنْطِقُ جَوَارِحُكَ شَهَادَةٌ لَكَ بِمَا عَمَلْتَ بِهَا مِنْ خَيْرٍ وَعَلَيْكَ بِمَا عَمَلْتَ بِهَا مِنْ شَرٍ. SubhanAllah, it's so much juicier in Arabic. It's so much like, they say that they will bear witness upon you. First, they will bear witness for you for the good deeds that you did. For all the good things you did, they'll bear, yep, I'm there. I was there. She did this. When people were going to do that, she didn't go with him. She did the right thing. When people were drinking, he left and he went to a different gathering. Or alayka. Or they'll testify against you. When A'udhu Billah didn't wake up for Fajr. When A'udhu Billah only once a year in the month of Ramadan, Allah ja'ala maqbool inshaAllah wa lakum, did that person open the Qur'an, etc., etc., etc. So the choice belongs to us. And then he quotes the ayah, لا مرد له من الله ما لكم من ملجأ يومئذ وما لكم من نكير ويوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب عفوا سليم. So there are two different verses on a day which cannot be averted, brought upon by Allah or brought on by God. You will then have neither refuge nor denial. A day when wealth and children will be of no avail, and only those who came to Allah with a sound or whole heart, as it says there. So that's the dalil that the Imam is using to tell us. There's a day when nothing will benefit. The day when we get judged, Yawm al-Maw'ud, that's the day of the appointed hour, so to speak. The Sa'a, as it's also called. So that day, nothing will benefit. Mal, money, wealth. Okay? Banoon doesn't just mean children, it means armies. It means followers. What is it? My little monsters, isn't that what they're called? Yeah? Don't pretend like you don't know. Isn't that what she calls them? Lady Gaga? Isn't that what she calls it? Oh, now you remember. Don't worry, I'm onto these things.
They're talking about kids.
Now she calls the followers little monsters.
I thought you call them kids in general, little monsters.
No, like that's what the verse said. Malun wala banun. Money and children is the literal translation of it. But what does mal mean? Wealth, power. Like when people have money, they live a different lifestyle. Nobility in that sense, differentiation from the common folk. That differentiate. That's the mal. And Banoon isn't just children, it's your tribe, your people, your culture, right? And armies, followers, fans, isn't they call them fans? Isn't that what she calls them? Am I wrong?
No, you're right, it is like monsters.
Yeah, monsters. Tell me. Don't be shy, it's alright. Tell us, it's alright. I think that's what she calls them. Anyway, whatever. Monsters are jinn when I was a believer. Anyway, that's beside the point. They're not going to benefit anyone. That's the point. No matter how many millions of followers you have on Facebook or tens of millions of, not going to benefit. Except the person who atallaha bi qalbin salim. Qalbin salim in its essence is tawheed. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasul. That's the essence of to have a sound heart. That's the essence of it. So in the initial meaning of the verse, that's what it means. In other words, the people who believe in Allah, the oneness of Allah, the prophecy of the Prophet of Allah, they're the people who, that's a qalb salim in its essence. But the ulama further talk about it, the mufassirun, the exegetes, they further talk about it and they say that it's free from hasad, from envy, from rancor, from enmity, free from self-aggrandization, in other words, thinking one is good. It's free from all those negative qualities. That's a sound heart. And it's full of the positive qualities. Iman billah, first on the list. Belief in Allah. Strong conviction in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Humility, humbleness, taqwa, ihsan. Humility being, we know what being humble is. Taqwa, consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ihsan, excellence in the way we deal with ourselves and all things around us. That's truly the heart that is sound. It's truly the heart that is sound. Alright, so any questions about any of these things? No? وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. So try if you can, during the week. It's only one page. One page. It's just one page. It's easy to revise. Just quickly read it. And you've got your devices. Instead of scrolling on your Facebook page, what's there, have a read of it. Have a read, see what's there. Alright, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, one other thing to be conscious of, inshallah, is in these days, is that all the Hajjaj, inshallah, they're coming back from Hajj. All the people, inshallah, Azza wa Jal, that Allah Azza wa Jal, bi-ibn Allah Azza wa Jal is accepted, they've come back, as you know from the hadith, the Sahih hadith, that it's as though that they were just born. They've come back new people. And the people that you see from the Hajjaj that, Allah knows better, you can see the nur and you can see the change in their face. You can see the nur in their face. Hajj Mabrur means that they've changed their ways. They've gone and the things they used to do before, the disobedience to Allah, the fact they weren't 100% in their worship to Allah Azza wa Jal, as the case might be, that's changed. And what's the reward of Hajj Mabrur? Jannah. Paradise. That's the reward of it. So, they say in the Athar, mainly in the Athar, so don't take it in in the Sahaba, things the Sahaba said, the Prophet said, or the things the Sahaba said, that whoever goes, the Hajar al-Aswad, right, it's got a secret that was given at the time of Sayyidina Adam. It was put in the Hajar al-Aswad, and the black stone that's in the Kaaba, and they say it's the right hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so to speak, and whoever couldn't make pledge allegiance to the Prophet of Allah, if they touch the black, everyone's freaking out, if they touch the black stone, right, it's as though they made bay'ah, pledged allegiance with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's a big thing. Pledging allegiance means that I've given myself to you for Allah, to the Prophet of Allah, for Allah Azza wa Jal. That's the pledge of allegiance, the bay'ah. But there's a few bay'at al-Aqaba, bay'at al-Ridwan, there's a few different bay'at, like to the women they made bay'ah in the Ansar and the Muhajirat, they made bay'ah, they pledged. It's a pledge to keep one. It's like when you come to Australia, you have to pledge of, Americans have the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't think we have it. But now when you take your citizenship, you have to make a pledge that, it strengthens one's resolve. It's supposed to strengthen one's resolve. That's what it's supposed to do. Okay, so these people are coming from the house of Allah Azza wa Jal, where there's 100 rahamat descending. 100 mercies of Allah Azza wa Jal descending at any given time. And they're bringing it back with them. So if you hear someone of your relatives, of your friends, an acquaintance even that you don't know very well has come from Hajj, go and visit them. Go and take from their anwar. And first thing, ask them for dua, because they're pure. Inshallah, if their Hajj is mabrur. They come back wearing gold all the way up here, and ear-piercings if they're a guy or whatever. All right, maybe not. But most of the people that go there, business they go with their sincere intention. And when we were studying, even the Mashaykh would come out, the Habib, if they saw us, we're coming back when we came out. They would stand us in the street or in the middle of the Mahad, and they'd say, quickly make dua for us. And everyone would gather around, and poor people like me would be making dua for the Habib, because we just came freshly from Hajj. So if you can, go see these people. If you can, spend a little bit of time, ask them, get some of the anwar that they're bringing back from Hajj. Don't delay in it, because the longer you delay, guess what? Wallahu alim, if it goes or increases, wallahu alim, depending on the individual, okay, but hopefully you'll have more chance if it's at the beginning. Ring the person up, go to their house, take their barakah, take from their anwar, and then ask them to make dua for you, because they're inshallah closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, and as well, like for us in Australia in particular, like there's a lot going on in the political scene and all these types of things at the moment. So, now there's all these polls, firstly, One Nation people, right-wing people that just spout, unfortunately, if they've shared facts, it's okay. But they're spouting rubbish when they're spouting rubbish, and they're saying things that are completely unfounded, and they're trying to disprove things that have been around, for centuries, that have been accepted by all of humanity, and so really all it's doing is creating hate and creating division in Australia, in the society in which we live in. For us Muslims, all right, whatever, very small percentage of the population voted for people like One Nation and these types of people. But now the rhetoric that's out there, it's not something new. In other words, already the talk of the politicians, the talk of people in power, and what do they call them, you know, soap opera stars and TV personalities and all that, it starts to affect people. And the reason why, and I don't mean Muslims, it does affect, but I mean pretty much because we're not out there and we're not passing the message. And we're not doing our part as we should. Meaning that, don't forget the other chapter we just finished, Amr Ma'ruf wa Nahy al Munkar, to enjoy good and to forbid evil. For what purpose? What? Proximity. Alright? To get proximity, nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the reason for it. That's the reason for it. So, in those times of difficulty, in those times of hardship, and nothing compared, what we're going through is not even a drop in the ocean to what was happened to the Prophet of Allah ﷺ. And then what happened to the Jews in Egypt? يَقْتُلُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ. They killed their children and they slept with their wives. Doesn't get worse than that. Bad news. Right? So, alhamdulillah, inshallah it doesn't get there. Allah protect us inshallah from the fitan. And يُوَلِّ عَلَيْنَا مَنْ يُرْحَمَنَا. Allah put leaders upon us, those who have mercy towards us and towards all people. So the thing is that we shouldn't be that polls are coming out saying half of Australia wants, you know, non-Muslim, stop Muslim migration, all these things. So the fault is ours. We're only 2.5–3% of the population, as the case might be. But we've got to get our voice out there. We've got to talk to people. We've got to meet people. Now you've got to start going out of your way. It's not good enough anymore as it was when we used to encourage, you know, 2 months ago to say, oh, you know, in your work, in your whatever. Now you need to join, I don't know, whatever it is, netball club, or, you know, join the Rural Firefighters Association or the CES or something. You have to actually be putting yourself out there. No good sitting in your homes anymore. That for brothers and sisters. If you're one of the sisters that doesn't leave home hardly ever, all right, that's a different story. But if you're a sister that goes out and works and studies, what? It's fine to go out and study and it's fine to go out and work, but it's not fine to go out to call to Allah Azza wa Jal. That's what's going to change the scenario for us and for those who don't know, which is the other who are non-Muslims. They don't know. They don't know what our faith is about. They see the propaganda on TV. They see that, you know, the corporate media propagating whatever it might be for their own purposes. But that doesn't discourage us. The Prophet of Allah, he never got discouraged. He didn't. They put entrails of animals on him. They cussed him. They bashed him. They set his path on fire, put thorns through rocks, whatever. And he just kept on going. Even when they came, they said, look, man, when he was even being successful, they got him, the leaders of Quraysh, said, come, man, this is getting beyond the joke. What do you know, let's come to an agreement here. Let's come to a truce. We worship your Lord one year, you worship our gods the next year. And he's like, sorry. They said, look, don't worry, just leave it. He didn't agree. He said, leave it. We'll make you our king. Have all the women you want and all the money and power you want. He said, if you got the sun and put it in my right hand, and you got the moon and put it in my left hand, I won't leave this amr, this duty that I have to propagate. And that's the attitude we have to have. You know, we don't fight fire with fire. That's not, our teachers didn't teach us that, alayhi salatu wassalam. He didn't teach us fight fire with fire. Bring the hadith that says that. I'll say, no worries, my bad. But I don't know of hadith that says that. We fight what? Fire with what? Rahmah. Right? Ignorance with knowledge. Yeah? Hatred with love. That's the prophetic way. And it's not just our way. Go ask Gandhi. Go ask Martin Luther King Jr. in the United States of America in the 60s. Malcolm X, Malik Shabazz. Ask these people, the people that were successful through whatever their ideology and conviction was, in terms of a faith-based or a spiritual path. All of them. That's the only way to succeed. This, you know, we want to go and bash and kill and smash and TK and whatever else it might be. That's just frustration talking. Which frustration? What part of us talks when we're frustrated? Right? Our ego, our nafs, our lower selves, because we're frustrated because why? Why are we frustrated?
Not getting our way.
Okay? Because we can't do what I can't do what I want to do, so I get frustrated. It's not that I haven't acquiesced to the will of Allah. I haven't surrendered to the will. Once I've surrendered to the will of Allah, why should I be frustrated? What is there to make me frustrated? Nothing. But it's when I put myself before Allah, I. That's when I have those problems, which relates back to what Imam Haddad was talking about now. Okay, so don't be disheartened. Don't be discouraged. Don't go looking for likes. Don't go looking for people to accept. What my experience is, people are watching and listening to their friends and people, but they're too scared to say anything. Even, subhanAllah, I remember one of my mentors, one of my legal mentors, he said that, one time there's a comment on Facebook or wherever it was somewhere, and his wife was going to comment on it. And he said to her, "Are you sure you want to get involved?" He was telling me, the guy's a mashallah, because he didn't realize what he was saying. He was saying, "Are you sure you want to get involved in this conversation?" She said, "Yeah." And then one time we had lunch or dinner, lunch with them, and they asked a few questions, and we gave him an answer. So she gave the answer that we gave to her friends. So people, they're watching, and they're listening, and they want to know the truth, but they're scared. Why? Because you do say the wrong word, do the wrong thing, and rather than the conversation, they're scared they're going to be associated with terrorists. They're scared they're going to be in breach of the law. That's what people are scared of. So don't hold it against them. Don't hold it against them. In America, they've got the Patriot Acts here with the anti-terror laws and all these things here in Australia. People are scared if they get involved. What if they comment on your... This is what people think. This is how people think. What if they comment on your page and you're a terrorist sympathizer? They're now implicated. That's what they really think. I'm not going to say it to you. I'm not going to say it to me, but that's what they think. So don't worry who... The people are watching. People are looking at you, especially if you're a hijabi. Especially if you're a hijabi. And so that's why you've got to act in the best possible manner. If someone takes you on, it's all right. They don't understand. Allahumma ahdi qawmi innahum la ya'lamun. Ya Allah, guide my people, for they do not know. They don't know. They're ignorant. They know CNN, ABC, Channel 7, Today Tonight, A Current Affair, and other crazy nut job people. These people aren't reliable sources for any kind of information. They can't even get the weather right. All right, so you're going to rely on them for anything else. I'm just being facetious, joking around, but as an example. All right, they're self-interested to make money, so whatever story they publish makes them money. That's what they want to do. So don't be disheartened. Don't be discouraged. Don't be afraid. Of course, what you do with hikmah, as the last chapter we studied, with about Imam al-Haddad, how you call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, embody that, seeking the proximity of Allah azza wa jal, not seeking to change people, because that's not up to you. That's up to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you can, that's the challenge. If you can, change yourself if you can. If you can. If you can, then maybe think about changing someone else. But very hard to change oneself. Because to change, one has to let go of what one is to be what one will become. It's not an easy thing to do. Or any questions about any of those things? No? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin wa salatu wa salam ala khayrina wa alihi wa sallam. Ya Rahman Rahim, alhamdulillah bi rahmatika al-wasi' yasir umura min hayat al-ba'd ma ma tatabbaq aqdamana ala